Hi everyone, we're here in Florida in the United States and I've hired a Tesla Model Y. In this video we're going to have a look at the charging infrastructure in the US, and I'm also going to give you my opinions on this car. So the first thing that we've got to do, we've got to try and find a charging station. With Teslas, it's dead easy. You literally put it on navigation, press a charging option, and it just literally takes us there. How long have I got? I've got 9 miles to the charging station. That's actually a fair bit closer. Excuse me, just need to tap my card. It didn't recognise me, although I've used the card to get in the car. Sometimes I've found that happening with the Model Y. Back to what I was saying, 9.2 miles until we're at the supercharger. That's not too bad, to be honest. I think the nearest one to me is probably about 14 miles. That's in the UK. But I am expecting the supercharging network in America to be pretty good, because obviously that's where they're from. But I am going to try and have a little go at public charging as well. I'm going to give you a little idea of what I think of the US roads, and I'm also going to be talking a little bit about this car. So it's the Model Y and it's the long range. I think at the moment they've just released, I think, the standard range in the UK. I've not driven one before, and first impressions it's a Model 3 but a little bit taller, and that's effectively all that it is. There's obviously nothing that stands out as being drastically different. So what's going on with this one in front? Let's just let them clear. So stop junction is like our giveaway. It's an emerge at the end of the day. We've got a vehicle here to my left hand side that's going to turn without an indicator. Shock horror. So indicating is obviously a problem in the US as well, not to tell people where you're going. But anyway, let things go as normal, rise above it and just get on with things. This is our second full day here. We had a full day yesterday out in the Model Y, and it's a nice, comfortable car. The ride is very similar to that of my Model 3. It's probably a little bit softer, which I think has been documented in the press about this particular car. But effectively, it's exactly the same. You can't tell much different. The doors are a little different. They haven't got this this wood finish on the doors. I know mine was the one that was made in China of the Model 3. I know some of the non-Chinese versions didn't have the wood finish on the door, but effectively it's the same. All the controls, the same. The screen is the opposite way round, which hasn't caused me any issues. I know exactly where things are. It has been a little bit strange operating it with my right hand as opposed to the left, and that switch round did actually cause me a little bit of a problem yesterday as well. I was in the middle of a junction, about to turn left at a set of traffic lights. I've just got to get myself across. So look at the acceleration. Yeah, it's immense. To be fair, it's a fair bit more powerful than my my Model 3. I've just got the standard range. This is the long range with a little bit more power to it, but it's not massively quicker than my car. So yeah, I was in the middle of an intersection. Sorry I didn't get it on camera, but what I actually did, and it's a silly little thing, but it probably makes sense because I'm used to everything being on the opposite side. I was in the middle of a junction and I actually went to reapply a signal that clicked off, and I clicked this stalk here on this side up, and it put it into reverse. I didn't move, but it was just an instinctive thing. So that may be a problem when you're driving in different countries if the controls are on a different side. It was an absolute one-off as well. I've not done it since or before, but it is something to watch out for. So the high up driving position of the Model Y is probably the only thing that I like probably a little more than the Model 3. It's not a big problem in the Model 3. The Model 3's got great visibility all the way around. I really like the car, but it is just nicer to be a little bit higher up, especially here in the US where we're blessed with everyone driving pickups. There's some big vehicles out here, but the standard of driving that I've found here in Orlando hasn't been too bad. It's been okay, to be honest. Lane discipline is no better or worse than the UK. I expected, honestly, all the traffic to be going past in whichever lane, but it seems over the years, and I've driven in Florida many times, it seems over the years that lane discipline and moving back to the right, as we are here driving on the right hand side of the road, is much better and more common practice than it is than it was many years ago. Sorry, I was just thinking about the lanes there. Sometimes what I've found here in the US, that I know there was a further right turn lane, but sometimes because you're okay to turn right on red in the US, sometimes I've found that moving out of this furthest right hand lane to lane 2, this side, is a help to allow traffic to flow. And what I was looking at there, we had some traffic lights above our lane, and because there's not one directly above my lane, I thought there for a little second that there was a potential for this lane to turn. It's not, but we're okay. So the Model Y fit and finish, no different than my Model 3 really. I know this is probably one of the ones built in the US. Mine's a Chinese model, like I've said, and I can't really distinguish any differences, so it's not a big deal. So how are we getting on? It says on the screen it's pre-conditioning the battery for fast charging. That's par for the course for Teslas. This supercharger is a 150 kilowatt one. I have noticed a few when I was plumbing it in that were 250 kilowatt. So the charging infrastructure does look pretty good. The time is 8:30 in the morning. It is a Monday where I am filming at this time, so we might have a little bit of traffic as well. For now, on this this road, Highway 27 in Claremont, it's flowing quite nicely. The road layout in the US I've found to be really simple. I've not found any problems. The transition to driving on this side of the road and judging where I am sat on this side of the car is always an easy one for me, because I spend a fair bit of my time in this left-hand seat. So honestly, it's not been an issue. One thing that is a little different though, and it's made something click on why some of my US viewers always say set the mirrors outside of the side of the car so it reduces blind spots. I get why they say that now, because the mirror glass in this Tesla and the outside exterior mirrors is way different than the mirror glass that I've got back home. It's less convex, you see less of a wider field of view, it's more realistic. I would actually say it's quite similar to the interior mirror on field of view. So I understand now why my US viewers always say set it beyond the outside of the car so you get a further wider view. I haven't. I still like to see the edge of my car, just a sliver, and then if I do need to see there, it's all right. On the Tesla we've got some cameras that come up on the screen, but just have a little lean. I'm forever using my peripheral vision back home, and I haven't stopped here, to be honest. Now, a little problem with this guy. I'm just making sure I know what's going on with this, because we are taking the off ramp here. So hopefully you can see that with this camera. These have recently changed on the Tesla as well. They were always blocked by your hand nearest the screen. It was my left hand on mine, because obviously I was sat on the other side of the car. But they've moved the when you indicate, the cameras come on the screen, and they've moved that to a higher position. And in this update, it's made a lot better. Although I can honestly say I don't find myself using them very much. Merge in turn is a thing here as well. Now, I was travelling back. We went to a national park yesterday. That's where we were. And there was a situation I was following, one of my family members who lives and works over here. And there was a merge scenario and a merge situation. And what actually happened, that someone closed the space down. My family member sussed it and sorted it really nicely, actually. I was following behind, and I was giving a running commentary to my better half, and he sorted it really well. So merge in turn is something that is still needed over here in the States. There are a fair few merging lanes, and you've got to look out for this scenario, whether this lane turns right only. Sometimes that happens at lights, and I think people just find it easier just to drive in that middle lane. But occasionally you'll come off a main road to call it an on-ramp, not sure, slip road effectively, and then you'll be told to merge. And in the main part, I've found people to be pretty good. It's not a big deal. So what we've got 3.5 miles and another 10 minutes. The traffic looks as though it's building up. There's a few red patches here, so I'm going to call this a day for a little minute and wait till we get to the supercharger. Our Tesla superchargers, I can see them. And, we've got plenty available, which is all good. I have got in contact with my or the person who owns this car. I've rented it through Churo, so I've got in contact with them and said that I'm going to need some supercharging, so it's not a problem. I will be picking up the tab for this, because obviously where are you going? You're going that way. Yeah, picking up the tab, and expect that when you are hiring a car, you've obviously got to fuel it if you bought a non-electric car. And all that happened was I've been told that I'll just be invoiced at the end of the rental for the supercharging. That's okay, it's not a problem. Right, all the way back to it. Reversing is a little strange with these side mirrors though, I must admit. View out of the back of this Model Y is even worse than my Model 3, so unfortunately it does force you to deal with the cameras. Right, let's get out and let's see what charging's like. So straight in and straight charge, that's nothing more than I would expect from the Tesla system, knowing it as I do. Now I'm going to leave this for about another 20% of charge, but shortly we are going to have a look at non-Tesla supercharging here in the US. I'm going to see what public charging somewhere else is going to be like. So let's have a quick look at the charging rates. What have we got here? It's getting on quite nicely. So we're charging at 129 kilowatts, inputting over 500 miles per hour, which is what I probably would expect. And we've got a 45-minute wait if we're going to go to full. But like with any electric cars, anything above 80%, generally it's going to slow down. So we're going to whack it probably to 60-70%, and then I'm going to see what it's like at the other charging stations. So we're cracking on now. We're probably somewhere beyond where I was going to stay, if I was honest, but I nipped into the loo and then it's come out and we're up to 75%. The charging slowed down to 67 kilowatt, which is what I would be expecting at this rate of charge. So next thing on the agenda is we're going to go to a different charging station. We are here on this this side of the map, the Tesla Supercharger, and I'm using chargehub.com for this, and we've got an area here, Nildo Orlando. We're going to go to this one. I'm not sure whether this is going to be one that I'm going to be able to charge, but let's find out how easy it's going to be. So let's try and find our way back out. It wouldn't let me put into. Oh, I wonder if I can get out and back here. Let's try. It wouldn't let me put my destination in, sort of know where it is on the map. So I'm just going to try and wing this one. Is there a little road down back that I can get to? I want to head over this way to the right, so it makes sense. Rather than battling through the main roads, let's have a look at my wing ability. Yeah, I might very well be able to turn onto this one. Fuel prices in America, I worked them out the other day, and they're not actually as bad as I actually thought they were going to be. I think it works out to be something like 90p a litre. My maths were correct. 90p a litre for petrol, and about £1.20 a litre for diesel. I know it's gone up significantly over here in the US compared to what it was, but still a fair bit cheaper than it is back home. I just did exactly the same thing as I told you before. It's interesting, that, isn't it? I used my right hand to do the signal. Don't know whether that's just me or whether that is a common thing on that switch over. It's interesting. I said before that I did it the other day, whether it was a one-off. It's obviously not. Interesting. Now, if the car was stopped at that point, it would go into reverse and then head back. That's a big risk, that one as well. Okay, there we go. There to that side. So I found it, which is good. Is it available? Yeah, it is. This looks as though it's a roundabout as well. Let's go and see how easy it is to go off and get charged. Looks as though there's a couple of bays. Is that a disabled electric charging spot? That's nice to see. Fair play. Okay, so we found a way here. Now there is an adapter for Teslas, because Teslas don't have the universal charging connector that all the public charging stations had. Mine was thankfully in a boot, so let's see whether this actually can get to charge. The lead's pretty long. It's a simple case, connecting that and then straight in. Now, is it going to charge? So the car says ready to charge, so now what I've got to do is, I'm suspecting, is go on the website. Okay.
A few moments later.
Okay, so after a little bit of digging, I can get charged, but again, it's a case of signing up, making an account, and it's only going to charge at 6 kilowatts. So honestly, this car is going to probably take about 12 to 15 hours to charge fully. So fast charging, it looks as though it's superchargers only. No surprise. Is the network any better here in the US? No, absolutely not. I personally think The UK has got it a little bit better, and it's still the same old problems. There's a lack of infrastructure where you can just swipe a card and charge quickly. Am I put off an electric car here in the US? Absolutely. I don't think I'd have one. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all soon.